One autumn evening in the 1850s, St. John Bosco was on his way back to Turin after visiting a small town to the south of the city. He had an hour's wait ahead of him in a train station. It was already 7 o'clock, it was cold, and there was a heavy fog that was turning into a misty rain. The station was so dark that he could hardly see anything even a few feet in front of him. There was only one small area in the station that was dimly lit. In that area, there was a gang of boys who were horsing around. They were causing such a ruckus that all other conversations were drowned out by their noise. "Wait! Catch him! Run! Grab him!" the boys were shouting. Although Don Bosco doesn't specify the game that they were playing, I imagine that it was something like tag combined with mixed martial arts. In the midst of all this shouting, one voice stood out and dominated all the rest. Don Bosco describes this voice as that of a leader who demands respect and obedience. Wanting to meet the boy whose voice this was, Don Bosco approached the unruly crowd. When the boys noticed that they were being approached by an adult, they thought that they were in trouble, and they all fled in fear. All except one, that is, the one with the commanding voice. This boy stood in front of Don Bosco with his hands on his hips, and with an unmistakable air of haughtiness, he said to Don Bosco, "Who are you, breaking up our game like this?" To which Don Bosco replied, "I'm a friend, and with your permission, I'd like to join you and your friends in this game. But who are you?" "Me?" the boy said in a serious voice. "I'm Michele Magone, the boss of this game." As Don Bosco continued talking to Michele, he learned that his father had died and that his mother was struggling to raise him and his brothers. Because of this lack of guidance and supervision, Michele spent much of his time just hanging out in the streets. He admitted to Don Bosco that some of his friends were already in jail and that he feared that he was heading down the same path. So, Don Bosco invited Michele to the oratory in Turin. And after having talked it over with his local parish priest and his mother, Michele decided to accept the invitation. During his time at the oratory, Michele was transformed from an aspiring gang leader into a saintly young man. Listen to how Don Bosco describes his transformation. When Michele first came to the oratory, he barely tolerated chapel time. Within months, he found religious services very comforting, no matter how long they lasted. When one day, one of Michele's companions complained about having to spend so much time in the chapel, Michele said the following to him: "You're just like I was just some time ago. You don't know what's good for you. Don't you know that the church is the house of God? The more we go to church here, the greater our chances to be with God in paradise. Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me." Don Bosco lived these words from the gospel of the other day, these words spoken by Jesus. With the eyes of faith, Don Bosco was able to see past the rough exterior of Michele Magone and so many other young people to the reality which lies underneath, the presence of Jesus himself. And so may Don Bosco's example inspire all of us to see others with the eyes of faith, to never tire of doing good for others, with the knowledge that whatever we do for the least of our brothers and sisters, we do for Jesus.